Hi everyone, this is Carrie. The following audio may be a little difficult for some to hear. This is not graphic in nature at all, but what you do hear is a mother explaining what her and her children are going through after being around the Waukesha Parade incident. The following is an audio interview between law enforcement and those who witnessed the tragic incident at the 2021 Waukesha Parade when Darrell E Brooks Jr. drove his mother's red Ford Escape through the parade. 6 people lost their lives that day. More than 70 sustained injuries, and the number of those emotionally traumatized is beyond the hundreds. While most of the descriptions contained in this video, like I said, are not graphic in nature, some may find this audio just a little difficult to listen to, so viewer discretion is advised. This video contains 2 separate witness statements, so please remember to stay till the end.
Okay. The date is December 3rd, right? December 3rd, 2021 at 3:05 p.m., Waukesha City Hall. Time is 3:05 p.m. and it's Jody. Can you spell that for me, Jody?
Jodee.
And of course, Jody, this is reference the parade back on the 21st, and I understand
Yes.
you were there, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Can you describe who was with you?
I was with my husband,
Okay.
John, and our 5 children. They range in age. Our oldest is 17, 13, 9, 7, and 2. And we were with our friends who have 4 children themselves, and their children are similar ages. Their oldest is 9, 7, let's see here, 9, 7, I think 4, and 2, almost 3.
Okay. And do you remember where you were, like what you were near, what you were in front of on the route?
Yes, so we were in front of a church. We were sitting on the property side where there's an apartment. I think it's called The Landing. It's on the corner of White Rock and Main Street. And then across the street, I think it's an Episcopalian church. It's a Christian denomination church.
So the church was across the street from you?
Yes.
And you said you were like on the corner of White Rock and Main there?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I can pull up pictures to get a better.
Sure.
I can see if
I can picture it, but you can show me the picture too.
Let's see, November.
Was the parade as from where it started to where it was heading, moving from your left to right as you watched it?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Yeah, so here are our kids sitting, so the apartment, there are 2 apartments.
That's what I thought. Yep.
Yep,
I
and
know
then
that
the
building.
the church.
Yep.
So,
I gotcha.
yeah, so my daughter took this picture of us standing in the road before the parade started. So that's where we were sitting, that's what we were seeing.
Okay, perfect. How was the crowd? Was it crowded like 1, 2, 3 rows deep? The people, were pretty close, like shoulder
We were
to shoulder?
close, so our family was literally in the gutter street because there's so many of us.
Mm-hmm.
The littler kids were with my 13-year-old daughter and Melissa, who's the other parent, the other mother. And then my husband and the other father were kind of standing by a tree. I was in a chair holding my 2-year-old son, and my daughter, who's 17, was in a chair. So we were like just right behind them in the grassy part. And then the little kids were all sitting on the curb getting candy, getting off the curb, going into the road, getting candy.
So you were kind of between the sidewalk and the curb, that grass area?
Correct.
And they were kind of sitting on the curb?
And they were sitting on the curb
Okay.
in the street getting candy or coming to
Okay.
sit back
Okay.
on the curb. So it wasn't, we were the one family in that section deep-wise.
Okay. Were people pretty much lined up shoulder to shoulder along the road from what you remember? Was it pretty thick that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. We were actually pretty surprised we found a section that we would all fit
Okay.
without having to go super deep.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And so what first drew your attention that something, was wrong? Something in the parade was happening that wasn't
Normal.
supposed to be.
So my daughter used to dance for Revolution's Twirling Club, so she's been a twirler, so she's been in this parade with that group. And she this year isn't, she's with a different studio. So we were mainly there to watch that group and wave and support our friends that are still twirling. So we were kind of waiting for them to come. And our attention was RTC. The group had just come from White Rock onto Main Street and waving and twirling their batons, and we were clapping, and Anna and the friends that we know. And all of a sudden we heard honk, 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 and I looked up and I saw this reddish, maroonish Ford Escape coming, and I looked at the driver, and the first thought to my mind was, is it an EMT needing to get to someone who needs help? Because I've been to parades where that happens, but it's generally a marked car. But when I saw the driver, he looked like he wasn't there. Like, it almost looked like he didn't care what he was doing. And I had a very bad feeling. Melissa had grabbed the kids and kind of scooped them out of the way because they were just there waving and getting candy. And we were all just like, what is happening? He went by pretty fast, between 25 and 30 past us, and I know he gained speed going down from just understanding what happened. And then we did hear the gunshots, and we didn't know if that was the police or him, and we saw people running and fleeing. There's two churches across from us, and one had more of a hilly area, and screaming, running. We knew we needed to get out of there. We did stop and say a prayer because we felt like we needed to ground ourselves, and as a family and with our kids, to keep them calm, we said the Hail Mary, and we just prayed for God to protect people. And then the apartment complex said, come in here. You know, you're not supposed to just, they really need people to kind of shelter in place. Melissa's father is an EMT, so he had a police scanner that he was telling us what he knew. And at that point, it was an active shooter, so we kind of stood in that building with the kids, and that was really hard for them because they heard people talking, people were crying. It was hard to protect them from what we didn't really know. So we didn't know the extent of what was going on, but we knew it was bad. And about 40 minutes later, one of the residents led us out the back onto White Rock to get to our vehicles, which were on Main Street further up, probably 1/4 of a mile from where the barricades stopped for the parade. It was very heavy. It was just a heavy night. Not a lot of people, but you could hear the sirens. And a woman did approach us and say, you need to get out, you need to get off the street. And we explained to her we're getting to our cars. And she said, it's an active shooter situation. And we said, we are aware, we're just getting to our cars. We didn't run into anybody else as we walked up the street to our cars. We got our kids in the car as fast as we could. We weren't running, but we were walking very fast. And then drove home and just kind of tried to process what had happened. And at that point, people were reaching out, are you okay? Because they knew our daughter had been in the parade. They knew we were going to be going to the parade. So I ended up just doing a lot of texting people that we were okay, but we're really shocked and kind of don't really understand what's happening.
Your daughter, no one in your group got hurt?
No one got physically hurt. They're all of the kids are having trouble sleeping. I'm having trouble like driving and just being around partying lots, and and I'll be okay, and then I'm not. So my kids will be like, what's wrong? And I'll just say I'm just having a hard time. And like the therapist that my two girls are in therapy just for anxiety.
Sure. And
their therapists have said, you know, you're doing the right things. We had our kids, they've asked a lot of questions. Their biggest concern was, is the bad guy caught? And, you know, we explained he's caught. And so they keep asking questions like that. I don't think they're afraid about, one of my kids is afraid to go places. And my other two little boys were afraid to ride the bus to school. So and I don't want them to be in fear, but I want to also protect them. So, you know, I said, I'm going to drive you to school and pick you up for the 2 days before Thanksgiving break. They have gotten back to riding the bus driver, I feel safe with the bus driver. I want them to feel safe with the bus driver. We've informed the school's been very supportive. My boys still want to sleep on our floor. We had them make cards for the children that were hurt, and those went into care packages that a neighbor was coordinating. So we're trying to do tangible things to make them, see the good that we can do, and that there's more good than bad in the world. So yeah, I think we're still not sure how deep we're affected,
Sure.
or mentally, but physically we're all okay. The scariest part was how close his car was to hitting them, especially because a parade, you're getting candy and you're not expecting
Car to come flying through. Yeah.
So that it's more of like having your vulnerability of like that, shattered. And I'm struggling with, we were physically okay, but other people weren't. So it's a hard place to be. That's why it actually took me a long time to call, because I thought, well, we weren't physically hurt, but we did see him. We were like right there, as opposed to even being across the street. We did see him, and I saw his face, and
Can you describe him?
Yes, he was like it was African American male with dreadlocks. His windows were rolled down. There was a smell of a very strong smoky marijuana smell from his car. I don't know why, ever since I've had children, but my sense of smell is like heightened to almost like there's some smells that I'm just like, oh my gosh, even if they're, good smells. And even my 13-year-old daughter was like it really took her aback. And he was wearing a gray hoodie, I think.
Okay.
But was not paying attention to people saying, stop. We heard people saying stop. And I honestly don't know why he honked. I don't know if it was to get us out of the way so we could get speed, or if I'm not sure. I'm grateful he honked, because had he not, one or two of our children that were more in the getting candy would have been hurt.
Sure.
So that is, he went by not so fast, but fast enough that we were like processing, this isn't, and again, I thought, is this an EMT? But then when I saw him, and I only saw one person in the car, I didn't see anybody else in the car. It's an older car, Ford Escape is what I remember seeing. Not a bright red, but a deeper maroonish red.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know the report initially was that there were more than one, but we only saw him. So I was like, there could have been people hiding, I don't know, but we only saw him. We being my daughter Rachel, my husband John, we all saw him.
Did you see that an officer or anyone, whether it was an officer or anyone who appeared to be assigned to the parade, like as security, try to stop it? Say anything? Did you happen to catch that, or?
So we saw an officer running after him.
Okay.
Again, that was after. So where we were in the parade, to the right of me, our family, we saw an officer trying to stop him from behind. I didn't see the hood. I didn't see anybody in the hood, but I saw an officer from behind. And then when we were like, kind of like, is the parade done? Like, we were so confused about it. A police officer had come from the White Rock area and said, the parade's over. Everybody needs to get into your car or get into a building. So there was a police officer in uniform who came and said that to our family.
Okay. Did you actually witness any of the people that were struck?
No.
Be struck? Okay.
And the sad part is, I know we, in the Dancing Grannies group, the Mrs. Durant, the one that's really young and just really beautiful, she was one of those people that was just like a stunningly beautiful person. And my friend and I were joking that when we're older we can be in the Dancing Grannies group, and I'm like she doesn't look old enough to be a grandma. And it's hard for me to know like she was alive and then she's not. So we didn't see anybody get hit, but we know the people who got hit because we saw them, and
Yeah.
their faces were something we remembered. And Melissa, my friend, actually works for her husband, his company, so.
I'm glad you didn't see it.
Me too.
I mean, you really kind of hit on all the main points we're looking for. Is there anything else you can think of? I think that, I mean, you saw who was in it, you saw the car.
Right, and I can't give an intent, or I don't know why he hanked. I mean, I don't know if he had a conscience briefly or if he was just trying to gain speed. I do know he didn't have just from his look, he didn't care. He didn't care what was going on around him.
Did you see, now, it's interesting, you saw him kind of just as he entered the parade route.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other cars behind him, any squad cars that were chasing him? Did you see anything around? Did you hear any sirens like a police car had just been chasing him?
No.
Okay.
No. And he came out really of nowhere because we were like watching RTC come. So our vision was like on that part. So I couldn't even tell you if he came from White Rock or if he came from the other side of Main Street.
Sure.
I can just tell you that's where we were. We weren't right on the corner, enough down that we saw the car just on Main Street, not even turning. So he was on Main Street. So but we did not hear anybody even chasing him from that direction. It was actually from further down on our right-hand side that a police officer was trying to stop him.
And what was the dance group you were there to watch again?
It's called RTC, Revolution's Twirling Club.
And your daughter had once been a part of it,
She had
right?
yes. So this year was the first year she hasn't been dancing with them. Last year's parade was canceled, and she'd been in 2 previous parades with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know they had to shelter in place a longer time because of reuniting family with each other. And she was in that church.
Okay.
She had a dancer whose parent was watching, and after it happened, the father, because the girl was crying, so I think when he came around, he almost hit her. And I was grateful that her father was there and he was able to hug her and take her away. But I know she told me her dancers are really struggling. I gave them all the information about trauma with children and how to reach out and all the resources we were given through school. So, I mean, I feel grateful we didn't see him actually hit people.
Yeah.
But knowing where he was before he hit them is, I think, important to know.
Yep.
The timeline and everything.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Jody. I appreciate you taking the time to come in. Here, I should give you this.
Okay.
In case any questions come up.
Okay.
You can call that number.
Okay. Great.
On the card.
Okay.
And yeah, that's everything I have. So thanks for coming down and
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
hang in there. Life will normalize again. You'll never forget it, but it'll normalize again, and
Yeah. Thank you.
you know, you kind of move forward. Okay.
Okay.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bob Juanes here.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, Andy. Thank you for calling me
Hey.
back.
Sure.
All right, so I understand that you witnessed some stuff and you were at the events that happened there in Waukesha, right?
Correct.
Okay, let me just get some basic information from you first. Andrew, what's your middle initial? Okay, and then you were there for the whole parade?
Well, we arrived at the parade a little late.
Okay.
But we were there. We were across from the guitar cafe in front of a little sweet shop there. My kids bought a couple cookies from that shop. But what I called for originally was we came in a little bit late that day, like I mentioned, and we headed in on East North Street, and we saw at the corner of East North and Northwest Barstow, there's a Mobile gas station there. We saw a red vehicle, a red SUV. Basically, we were at the intersection. There was a car in front of us. And the guy in this red SUV was yelling, kind of screaming, honking at this guy in front of us at the intersection.
Okay.
The guy in front of us backed up, so the red vehicle could go the wrong way on East North Street and enter the mobile station.
Okay.
And we looked at the gentleman. We didn't think much about it until the pictures came out, and my wife, myself, my 12 and 13-year-old kids, we all saw this guy because it was, we talked to him about not, engaging in road rage people, right? I mean, this guy was just turning and yelling at this person. So we just wanted to report that to you guys because it looked just like the guy. He looked exactly like the pictures that we've been seeing of this guy that did this. And I just wanted to make sure. I don't know if that would make any difference in the timeline, but if the mobile has cameras or whatever, I'm sure you'd see this guy pull in the wrong way. So that's what I wanted to report.
Just so I understand, you were on the street. There was a car in front of you. The red SUV, who you suspect is going to be the suspect, was yelling at the car in front of you, and I'm assuming that he was yelling to get out of the way or something. So the car in front of you backed up.
He was yelling. He was yelling to get out of the way so the car could go the wrong way on East North and get into the driveway or into the driving area for the gas station. So the car in front of us, I couldn't see him engage or anything. He just backed up so the guy could go the wrong way and get into the Mobile gas station. And we saw this red vehicle drive right parallel to us. We all got to see the guy's face. And I didn't get a license plate or anything, but it looked just like the gentleman on TV. I don't know exactly what time it was, although my Google map tracker thing said we were in Waukesha from 4:05 to 4:43. So it was on our way in.
43. Okay. And then that's as far as you saw. Once the vehicle entered the mobile gas station, you did not see anything further there?
No, we just saw, the guy was making a scene. We observed him, and then we, went on our way to find parking for the parade. Okay.
All right. And then you did not see anything that happened in the parade, right?
Well, we saw that, too. We saw the extreme, we saw an extreme dance girls get hit. That was right in front of us.
Oh, so you did see somebody get hit. Okay. So,
yeah.
Okay, so then you moved on to the parade.
All right, we parked. We walked to the parade.
How much after the time that you saw the car enter, that little incident that happened there at the gas station, and then how much time between that time and the time that you saw somebody get hit?
Oh, I would have to guess. Half an hour, 40 minutes, I would have to say.
40 minutes, okay. So you had already parked, you walked over to the parade, and then you established yourself across from the guitar place in a little sweet shop, in front of a little sweet shop. Okay, while you're sitting at the sweet shop and watching the parade, explain to me what you saw there.
So basically, we arrived late. We weren't able to get a front row seat because, other kids were seated. The parade had already started.
Okay.
We just saw the floats kind of go through, the parade go on, and then we heard, basically I saw the sign to the extreme dance group, and I kind of made a joke to my son about how it's extreme dancing or something like that. And then we hear a series of like boom, 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 and I see this car drive through, and I see these little girls, saw a little girl kind of cartwheel and fly over the top. I saw girls go underneath.
All right, let me stop you here so I can keep track here. So,
sure.
You saw the extreme dance group. That's what was happening in front of you. At that time, then you heard boom, boom, or boom. You said boom, boom 3 times. Are you describing a boom like a gunshot, or you're describing something?
So I didn't. I didn't think it was a gunshot.
Okay.
The people, like other people in the crowd, kind of did, but what it sounded like, it wasn't a crack. I mean, I'm kind of a hunter. I kind of know what that sounds like. It was just like, it sounded like somebody was like pounding on the hood of their car.
Okay.
But I could see how some people would think it was a gunshot because it was pretty loud and it was irregular, and it was more than three. It was just, I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say 5 to 8, and it was just really irregular. And there were people there that kind of ran into the little sweet shop behind us. And,
Okay.
a couple of guys had comments about guns. It did sound like a gun to me.
Okay, at the time that you heard those boom, boom, boom shot things that sounded more like somebody was pounding on the hood of a car, or,
Yeah, right.
at that time, that's when people started running into the sweet shop, and then you saw movement?
Yeah, so at that point, nobody ran into the sweet shop I heard the sound first,
Uh-huh.
and then I saw the vehicle rush through and hit these girls.
Okay.
And then at that point, I kind of looked up and I saw the car kind of continue through the intersection farther down the road. And after that point,
Okay, that's okay. Let me stop you here. So, because I'm writing it, I'm trying to write it in chronological order here. So
Sure.
you heard the boom, boom, boom shots that you described. Then the very next step is that you then saw the suspect car rushing through and then hitting. Describe what you saw when he hit whoever you saw.
Okay. So I saw at least 3 or 4 girls that were hit, 3 or 4 people in these black uniforms. I saw one girl almost like when you stand up and do a cartwheel.
Uh-huh.
That's what it looked like when she went over the top. I saw some people go under.
Okay. Okay, hang on a second. I'm writing. Give me a second.
Sure.
The people that you saw that were getting hit, did these people look like they were children? Did these people look like they were adults?
They looked like they were all children.
And right now you're thinking that it's probably around 3 or 4, all females, so you're thinking it was 3 or 4 girls that got hit?
Yes.
Okay. And then you described that you saw almost like a cartwheel, that the girls, you saw at least one girl for sure go over the car like doing a cartwheel type thing, and then you saw some of them going in midair, and then you saw others going under the car like getting run over.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And then what else did you see?
Then I followed the car, and it just sped through the intersection.
You when you said you followed the car, did you actually?
No, visually.
Oh, visually. Okay, so visually follow the car as it sped
through the intersection.
Through. And then what happened after that?
I had my child my 2-year-old on my shoulders.
Okay.
I pulled him down. People started to scream. I heard people say there were shots, which again I didn't think there were shots. People ran into the sweet shop behind me.
Okay.
And once I realized, I looked up and down the street. Once I felt a little safer, I made sure my family was together. I looked out at the kids on the street that had been hit, and there were it seemed like 3 people rushed to each kid. I think I saw 4 kids.
Okay.
3 people rushed to their assistance.
Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to back up a little bit. Who were you with when you were there?
So I was with my wife, my 12 and 13-year-old son, and then I had my 2-year-old son on my shoulders.
Son, and then a 2-year-old son.
Yeah.
Okay, and your wife, what's your wife's name?
Kathleen, same last name.
With a K or C? And then Kathleen's date of birth.
Okay.
All right. So that's
No,
what. That's, go ahead.
yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So you were with your wife and your 3 kids there.
Yeah.
Did anybody take video or pictures or anything?
And not after the scene.
Not only after the scene, you said, or
No, not after.
not after the
Not
scene.
after the.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we just took it ahead of time. We took
no.
pictures of the grannies and.
Okay, but not of the incidents or anything. Okay.
No.
All right. Anything else related to the incident that you saw that's important for us to know?
No, I just forgot to add to the vehicle. When it came through, it sounded like it sounds when you're, driving down the highway and you don't realize your car's in low gear, right? It sounded like the RPMs were really high.
The RPM's really high. Okay.
Yeah, but it's kind of what we saw and what I remember.
Okay, based on what you saw, the vehicle that you saw at the gas station 30 to 40 minutes earlier, do you think it's the same vehicle that you saw hitting the kids?
Yeah, and
Okay.
My family, we all the 4 of, the 2-year-old wasn't out, but the 4 of us all saw it, and we feel pretty confident it was
That was
the
the
same
same
vehicle,
one. Okay.
same guy.
The vehicle that hit those kids, do you remember anything specific about the vehicle? Any marks or anything on the vehicle or anything like that?
No,
Nothing?
I just remember the color.
Just the
remember the color.
Okay, and then you saw a red.
Streak.
You said a red car. Any more descriptions to maybe the make and model, if you know it, or what type of vehicle?
So I saw a red SUV both incidences. I didn't get a make model.
Okay, that's fine.
Just the smallest red SUV. That's what it looked
Okay,
like.
red SUV. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that is important for us to know that I didn't ask you or that you think is important?
Yeah, not that we can think of. Not that I can think of.
Okay. I'm assuming that your wife and your kids were all together and you guys saw the same thing and you guys already talked. So anything else that that you remember that they shared that you didn't see that is important that maybe I should call them?
Well, my son. The only other thing is my son. Before he even saw any pictures, he basically said that the guy at the gas station had a gray hoodie.
Gray hoodie. Okay.
Yeah, and that's. I guess I don't specifically remember that, but he mentioned that before he saw any pictures of the suspect. So.
From son. Okay, and then that would have been which son?
Evan.
Evan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I need to speak with him regarding that. But you have the number that you just called me on. That's my work cell phone number. So if anything else comes up, just give me a call. Other than that, I think that should be all I need. All I need from you. I'll go ahead and write my report that I spoke to you over the phone, and I was able to get all the information I needed.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Please remember to be respectful of the victims and witnesses in your comments. And if you'd like to do more to support the community of Waukesha, they do have the Waukesha Community Foundation Fund, which is there to support the victims impacted by this tragedy. I'll put the link in the description below. Have a blessed day, everyone.